Assalamualaikum everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening whenever you're attending and watching our video presentation. Let me introduce our group. We are from group 6 with 3 persons. The first is me, Pinta Raharja, and then Ridho Wibowo and Saddam Nasrun. Thank you for joining in this presentation. I'm here today to talk to you about how to disassemble and assemble the cylinder head. The cylinder head is the component of 3304 engine from industrial engine. It will take around 10 minutes or more of your time. There are 3 main parts to my presentation. To begin with preparation, following that with this disassembly, and the last but not least is assembly. Please hold your question until the end of our presentation, and please write your question on the column comment. For preparation, what should we do when we prepare for the job? First is tools. We should prepare the tools. What tools we need? The first is one set of toolbox, then 2 bracket link. This is the picture of the tools. Of the top is toolbox and the bottom is bracket link. The next is preparation for the safety equipment like protective helmet, then high visibility clothing and protective gloves, and the last is safety footwear or safety shoes. And we must prepare literature. What prepare literature we use? There is a Caterpillar 62P0 for our literature, and the last is what should prepare is lockout, takeout, or lotto for the safety equipment when we perform job. The next is disassembly. The part of disassembly will explained by Ridho Wibowo. Please, Ridho Wibowo, explain this part.
Okay, thank you, Pinta, for letting me to continue the presentation. Next, I will explain to you guys about how to disassemble the cylinder head. Before we start disassemble the cylinder head, first thing first, we start by removing some component that will hinder the disassemble process, like rocker arm, fuel injection line, turbocharge, and exhaust manifold. After we remove that component, we can start disassemble the cylinder head. Next. Okay, next we're going to start disassemble the cylinder head. First, we must disconnect the tube assembly from the turbocharge air elbow. After that, remove 4 bolt, elbow, and gasket from the cylinder head. Second is remove the water temperature sending unit at the picture number 2 from elbow at the picture number 4. Next, remove bolts at the picture number 1 and 3 that fasten elbow to the cylinder head and the water pump. After that, we fasten a hoist and tooling. The tool name is bracket link and to the picture A to cylinder head. After that, remove bolt at the picture number 5 that hold the cylinder head to the cylinder block. Next, remove the cylinder head and gasket. For your information, the weight of the cylinder head is 68 kilograms. So we must take attention while lifting the cylinder head. And then we finish the disassemble cylinder head. Next, I will explain to you about how to assemble it. First thing first, we must clean the surface of the cylinder head and the cylinder block that make contact with each other. But before that, make sure the surface are clean and dry. After that, install a new dry gasket at the picture number 1 on the cylinder block. Second step is fasten a hoist and tooling bracket link to the picture A to the cylinder head at the picture number 2 and put it in position on the cylinder block. After that, put anti-seize compound on all the head bolts and rocker shaft bolts. After that, install the head bolts and washer to hold the head in place. Next, we install the push rod at the picture number 4 to rocker shaft assemble to the picture number 3. For your information, make sure the dowel at the picture number 5 in the bracket assemble is alignment in the cylinder head, so the cylinder head will not move from its place. The next part will explained by Saddam Nasrun.
Okay, thank you, Ridho Wibowo. I will continue the presentation. We are still talking about assemble. The step number 5 is install the ball and washer that hold the rocker shaft assemble in the place. We must still pay attention to the ball and washer in the ideal position. It's installing them to prevent the screw up a ball. Next. Step number 6. Before I explain step number 6, please give your attention. The symbol, can you see on the feet? The symbol more or less, it is tolerant, it's measurable. Okay, we next, the step is take in ball in number sequence to a torque of 115 pounds-feet or 155 Newton meter. Next, take in ball again is in number sequence to a torque of 185 pounds-feet or 250 more or less 17 Newton meter. Next, take in ball again in number sequence to a torque of 185 more or less 13 pounds-feet or 250 more or less 17 Newton meter. Okay, D, take in ball in the later sequence to a torque of 32 pounds-feet or 53 more or less 7 Newton meter. Okay, next, take in ball again in later sequence to a torque of 32 pounds-feet or 43 more or less 7 Newton meter. Next. Okay, the steps number 7 is make adjustment until the intake hole is 15 inch. In other unit is 0.38 millimeter, and the exhaust valve clearance is 25 inch. The other unit is 0.64 millimeter. Take in the lock nut for the adjustment screw to a torque of 22 more or less 3 pounds-feet. The other unit is 28 more or less 6 Newton meter. The step number 8 is inspect the bolt gasket on the elbow and make a replacement if necessary. Install elbow. On the pit you can see elbow is number 6 and in position on the water pump and the cylinder head. The step number 6. The steps number 9 is install the water temperature sending unit 7 in elbow 6. On this page you can see I'm repeat again, the elbow is number 6 and number 10, install the turbocharger air elbow and gasket in position on the cylinder head. Connect the tube assemble to the turbocharger air elbow. Okay, the last steps end by install exhaust manifold, install turbocharger, install fuel injection lines. Okay, let's move to Pinta Raharja.
Okay, thank you, Saddam Nasrun. And that's will bring me to the end of our presentation. Let me give you a summary of what we've been talking about over the last 10 minutes. First, we must prepare any tools, safety, and literature recording the job. The second, we must doing the job based on literature. And the last, finishing the job without any accident. Finally, we get to the end of this talk. Thank you for listening. And if you have any question, I will be happy to answer them for the next meeting. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.